Good afternoon. What a beautiful day in a beautiful place. Certainly is. On behalf of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Bureau of State Parks, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all here today. I'm John Hallis, Director of State Parks, and we're gathered here in this quintessential state park setting to make an important announcement. To mark this important occasion and the release of this forward-looking plan, we are extremely honored to have Governor Tom Wolf, as well as DCNR Secretary Cindy Adams-Dunn and DCNR Parks and Forests Ambassador Marguerite Casedo, joining us today at Pine Grove Furnace, a park steeped in Pennsylvania history and priceless natural assets, protected and managed for the enjoyment and benefit of all. Pine Grove Furnace is representative of the power of State Park's place in our lives, and emblematic of historic gateway location of significance in our collective consciousness. This location's deep history and significance spans the centuries. From 18th and 19th century development and impact of the iron industry, and from its location on the path of northern freedom for enslaved people on the Underground Railroad, to the modern era of state park development and providing healthful outdoor recreation and environmental education. Pine Grove Furnace is one spectacular park in a system of 121 state parks that all people have a right to, as guaranteed in Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution. With that right for all Pennsylvanians provided for in the Environmental Rights Amendment, the dedicated work of state parks professional staff, conservation volunteers, and the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation and Parks Friends groups provides for exemplary service and stewardship to meet the mission and the mandate. Our state parks are the greatest collection of democratizing spaces in our Commonwealth. They afford us the freedom and the opportunity of pursuing some of life's most essential pursuits. With our state parks' purpose, design, and geographic proximity to within 25 miles of every Pennsylvanian, they are our common ground to stand on together. And we want to ensure that they will be accessible, welcoming, and inclusive, and that our natural and cultural resources will be conserved and available for generations yet to come. All the improvements of our parks that you will hear about will take a lot of hard work and commitment, and someone that has worked tirelessly during his time in office to improve our Commonwealth, our quality of life, our public health and safety, and all the services we provide is Governor Tom Wolf. Please join me in welcoming Governor Tom Wolf to the podium.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And, I grew up just down the road, as we say here, just down the road a bit. And this is the first time I've been here. But this is what makes Pennsylvania so special, this kind of scenery. And you can go to how many state parks? 121 state parks. And they're all beautiful, in different ways. But Pennsylvania is so diverse, so dramatically diverse. It's an amazing place. And I love coming to a place like this to make sure I point that out. So be sure you're taking plenty of photos and videos here, because this is really amazing. And it's an important place to announce the plan, as John said, the Penn's Parks for All plan. And it's an effort to say, was it John Weir who said if you get people to come and visit, maybe those of us who live here will appreciate it more. And I think the idea is to encourage more people to come to these parks and make our parks more accessible to everybody, all 13 million Pennsylvania citizens. And that's really important. We want to make sure that we're handling the needs of this generation and the next to have space outdoor. And I think we found over the last really difficult 16, 17, 18 months now that these open spaces are really important to Pennsylvanians because during that time, these state parks were heavily used by people from Pennsylvania and people from beyond Pennsylvania, because we have something here. And to get away from all the pressures and agony of what we all went through, people would escape to places like this. And being here on a day like this, you can understand exactly why the numbers were up and why we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can at the state level to make these parks open and accessible for everybody. But the point is, we need to celebrate what Pennsylvania has. We have a lot of things. I keep bragging. One of my favorite things about this job is I was in business up until 7 years ago, but now I'm doing this. But I still love selling, and I love selling Pennsylvania because we have so many things. But one of the things that we have going for us is this beautiful scenery. I mean, we're a big state. We'd be the 18th largest state. If we were an independent country, we'd be the 18th largest economy. You know, you go through things like that, the second highest number of institutions of higher education in the United States. We have 2 world-class cities. When I say that kind of stuff, people sort of go to sleep. But when I say, but we have some of the most beautiful scenery, some of the most beautiful natural resources in the world, people pick up because they can see that for themselves. But we have great forests. I mean, Pennsylvania's Penn's Woods. We have the waters of the Susquehanna, Monongahela, Delaware rivers. We have breathtaking depths of the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. Now, how many of you been to the Grand Canyon out in the west? Yeah. Have you been to the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
Is that better or not? Yeah, of course it is. That's better. The shores of Lake Erie. I keep saying everyone talks about the weather in Erie. But you know, Erie, Presque Isle State Park, that's our Riviera. We have that right here in Pennsylvania. It's beautiful. On a beautiful day, there's nothing that beats Erie. We have the Appalachian Mountains. You go across Route 6 in northern Pennsylvania, and it's the most beautiful scenery in the world. I mean, I love New England, but we have it all over them. And the Pocono Mountains, the Delaware Water Gap, things like that. We have it all. Do I sound like I'm going on here bragging a little bit too much? I'm a proud Pennsylvanian, and this is what makes me proudest. We should be all proud of what we have here, the natural resources, but I think the way that we make them accessible to each and every one of us to enjoy, like this state park and the 121 total state parks, 120 other states. My math is not real strong. So, but I think this is really important. So I want to thank the DCNR, the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources staff, the volunteers, the friends of Michaud Forest, everybody who's here, all of you. And just those of you who are here to come here and enjoy this and appreciate what we have here. You're really doing special things, and I appreciate that. Let's do everything we can to make sure that we preserve these places and make them more accessible. And that's where, and I think Secretary Dunn is going to talk about this a little more, but the Penn's Parks Penn's Parks for All plan. Why? That's a tongue twister. Penn's Parks for All plan. To make sure that not just a few of us, but every one of us, all of us, can come and enjoy this kind of thing, enjoy the Pennsylvania that's ours. And that's really important. We're all getting back on track after the pandemic, and this is a big step forward. This plan is going to be a big step forward for getting us all back into, I mean, I know it's not the core of the economic plan, but it's part of what we need to make sure that everything we do gets us back to where we were and beyond and better. And that's what we want to do. So the Penn's Parks for All plan is going to focus on helping Pennsylvanians feel connected to our parks. It's going to help protect the natural areas. The point is, parks are here for all of us. Penn's Parks for All marks a new chapter for our state parks and for our Commonwealth. It's a necessary blueprint. We really need this to ensure that our parks are prepared to continue welcoming Pennsylvanians and visitors for generations to come. So to talk more about the plan, I want to introduce someone who has done more than anyone to make sure that Pennsylvania appreciates its natural resources, and that is Secretary of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Cindy Adams-Dunn. Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Governor. Really appreciate it. And I would like to thank the governor in his leadership at the cabinet. There's many things he has done, but I want to call out a few of them that relate to our mission. From day one of the pandemic, he recognized how important and essential time in the outdoors was. And if you remember back in the days when we all had to stay at home as much as possible, the outdoors was noted as essential to go out and walk. He's recognized the beauty of the Pennsylvania State Park and the public land system that we have. And he always challenges the cabinet, like where are the unique advantages Pennsylvania has to really have a bright future economically and sustainably. And he's always recognized the public lands as a key part of that, and as a deep consumer of conservation history. He reads everything on Gifford Pinchot, John Muir. I send the books over, but what I've learned when I send the book over is I have to have read it recently, because then he'll ask me questions about it that are deep in the text. So yes, he's a big consumer of conservation history. I want to echo the governor's thanks to our frontline staff, again, DCNR staff. We're there from day one of the pandemic, and we're there. And I think I'm speaking for all the staff when I say it's been an honor to serve the people of Pennsylvania when they needed us the most. It's one thing to serve people in general, but to serve people when they need you the most is quite an honor. And I think our staff would echo that. Our friends groups, Pennsylvania Park and Forest Foundation, Friends of Pine Grove, Friends of Michaud, they were right there for us too. When masks were hard to come by, they were at home sewing masks to give to our staff so we could be in the front line. That's the kind of partnership and commitment we have. I want to thank our executive leadership team of DCNR. We took the governor's charge. At last week's cabinet meeting, the governor is like, we are going to serve the public of Pennsylvania, consistently, as hard as we can, as much as we can. For the time we're here, and we laid out a plan for the next 15, 16 months to really lay out that service in as great a way as we possibly can. And Penn's Parks for All charts a blueprint for us on how we'll do that. And Pennsylvania's parks have always been open to the public, free to the public, and owned by the public by Article 1, Section 27, which really guarantees by the Constitution the right of all citizens to clean air, pure water, and access to the natural environment. And it guarantees the sustainability of this. And so, again, part of Penn's Parks for All is guaranteeing that, financially, guaranteeing that in the public eye, guaranteeing that we can always have these parks for our citizens to come to and enjoy. A key part of our quality of life. It's a key part of our economic recovery as we look at what's going to bring Pennsylvania to a stronger economic position coming out of the pandemic. I've always said, in legislative budget hearings, Governor, that I wish we could die trace the dollars that come in through recreation and tourism and people visiting places like this and spending some money. If we could die trace those dollars, you'd see what a powerful economic driver state parks are and the outdoors is. We're ranked in the nation, 5th in the nation by the Outdoor Industry Association. People like REI, organizations that are part of the industry, rank Pennsylvania 5th in the nation. We're an outdoor state. Beautiful parks, beautiful streams, mountains, hunting, fishing, kayaking, biking, paddleboarding, you name it. We're an outdoor state, and we spend money on the outdoors, and we generate funds from the outdoors. And every dollar spent on state parks returns 12 directly to the local economy. So we're a powerful economic driver. And so we want to use that to drive the sustainability of this system to create a loop. So this is always here for the next generation. We have our Pennsylvania Outdoor Corps, young workers, the CCC of today, to create the next generation of conservationists who will work in the parks. I'm hoping, Angel here with his daughters, I'm hoping his daughters are going to become DCNR workers to create the next generation of workers who care about conservation. Dad's bringing them to a park. They're going to be interested in parks. Maybe they'll work in parks. And so the next generation of people is as important as the next generation and the funding and the having the parks in place. Our plan lays out, guide print. Paul Zeff, Matt Azels, who crafted this plan, lays out a great blueprint for the future. Some of the equity elements of the state park system now. Doc Goddard laid out a park within 25 miles of every Pennsylvanian. That sounds great. However, we know that people don't have equal access. If you don't have a car, 25 miles is a long way. So we're looking at transportation systems, how we can connect people to the park that they own. We're looking at trail systems into the state park, connecting communities to the park via trail so someone can get there on a bike. All kinds of elements on access and equity, making people feel safe and welcome in parks, the parks that they own. So there's much of the elements of the equity and service to all are part of this plan. We look at the growing and changing recreational needs of Pennsylvanians. Recreation is ever evolving. There are things that are coming forward in recreation we're not even imagining right now, but to try to meet the needs of ever-evolving recreation interests of the citizens of Pennsylvania, to keep bringing them out for good health and good recreation. We have a number of challenges upon us. One is climate change. There's changes in the climate that really cause challenges to our infrastructure. DCNR is the biggest owner of unsafe dams in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Climate change with its additional flooding events gives us a lot of concern about that. So again, the infrastructure dollars to fix these, to really use the streams of forests to clean and cleanse the water for those downstream. This little stream, Mountain Creek, goes into Mount Holly, goes into Carlisle, goes into the Conneqüinett. I drink water from the Conneqüinett, so I'm interested in the health of this stream, as are a couple million other folks. So again, we contribute to clean water, we contribute to cool spaces in a warming climate. The natural resource elements of these parks are really important. Again, we couldn't do it without, again, support from the governor, support from the rest of the cabinet, support from the public, our friends groups, the many volunteers that give generously of their time for this park and other parks. So we're really thankful for all that. And Governor, I'll give you a clue on the politic thing to say when someone asks you, what's your favorite state park? That the politic thing to say is the state park you're in. But I'm going to make an admission today. This is my favorite state park, and that's not politic for me to say. But people know I spend a lot of time here, so this is my favorite state park. So I'm really happy to be here. I'd like to next welcome to the podium Margarita Casedo. Margarita is the ambassador for Pennsylvania Park and Forest Foundation. So Margarita.
Thank you. Pennsylvanians should be proud that our park state was intentionally built to make sure that we all have a park near us. No matter where you live, there is a park, a forest, a lake, or a trail nearby. We all need parks and natural places, and it was never more evident than last year, the year 2020, the year in which we saw how in a few weeks a pandemic changed the way we live. Until this year, none of us had been confined. We had not used a mask, nor we had been forced to maintain social distance with our friends and family. Everything was different. Everything was new. The changes in the long and unpredictable confinement affected the physical and mental health of many. But there were the parks and forests that offer us a safe, restorative, and hopeful place to be during this unprecedented time. Since I've been Pennsylvania Parks and Forests Foundation ambassador, I have visited different parks. I found that behind each state park there is a team of extraordinary people, the DCNR staff, who maintain habitats, educate visitors, and preserve history. This is a committed group, and that, with another team of very special people, the volunteers, they are dedicated to maintaining the extraordinary. The DCNR staff are the museum curators, the engineers, landscape architects, and firefighters. They are indeed the most valuable resource of our state parks. They also develop educational and entertaining programs for all. In children's programs, entertainment is very important as it allows them to understand and commit to care of our forests. In addition to living the unique and unrepeatable experience of knowing forests, its aromas and textures on a children's scale. I am convinced it is essential to instill in them from childhood the love and respect for nature. And activities like this are of great help to achieve it. As an ambassador, one of my favorite activities is to mingle with the visitors of the parks, welcome them and talk to them. I love knowing about their customs and their cultures. It fills me with pride and joy to receive many words of gratitude from families who were being able to experience and to visit any park. It has been wonderful and educational family to experience the nature. After a children's program, a group of moms shared with me that this type of initiatives that involve children in the theme of the environment is wonderful and very important to them. There is work to be done to make sure that all Pennsylvanians have access, feel welcome, feel safe, and can meet their recreational needs on our park states. Pennsylvania state parks are free and open to all, but that doesn't mean that everyone can get to them, feels welcome, or uses them in the same ways. Our pride in our state parks will grow as we work to make them more inclusive, meet the recreation needs of the diverse and new recreational users, and provide information and programming to correct and tell new culture stories. It's appropriate that this plan include strategies that are based on efforts to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion.
So thank you, Margarita, thank you, Cindy, and thank you, John, for being here. And be happy to take questions, by which, of course, I mean they'll be happy to take questions. Jan. Let me answer that, and then I'll let Cindy answer that. The idea is that these are places for the people who own this park should not have to pay to come and visit them. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that they remain free.
Absolutely. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Furthermore, they were designed as state roads being the park road. You notice this park has the three major hubs of activity: Furnace Stack, Office, General Store, Fuller Lake, and Laurel Lake. The state road is the road, so charging a fee would, they're not designed. They're designed with state roads as the road. They're not like some states that they have like an entrance road and a gate. But the essential purpose, as the governor said, is these are owned by the Pennsylvanians. However, we do collect about 25 to $30 million in fees from concessions, from rentals, from camping, from cabin rentals. So we do generate some income, and that's one of the things we're looking at for part of our sustainability, the financial side of this.
Yeah. Well, the Supreme Court provided a big win, $300 to $400 million that will be coming back. So we were just talking about that earlier, and we'll have to work with the General Assembly as to exactly how we do that. But to follow the law, that's what we need to do, and that'll be a start. I think we figure that, and Cindy and I have arguments about this, but it's going to take a lot of money to get the parks to the point that we both would like to see them. But that's a nice start. You want to say anything on that?
No, I can't talk that.
Not yet. I mean, they're on vacation, so when they'll be back after 1st of September, and I'm sure this will be one of the many topics of conversation that we have. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have concerns. This is about COVID. So the numbers are alarming all over the country. To put it in some perspective, and I don't mean to diminish the problem here, but Pennsylvania is actually one of the best states in the country. We're actually near the bottom in terms of cases. I think at the last count, our 14-day trailing average cases per 100,000 is 5. I think the national average is over 20. And so we're really doing well there. And when the strategy has always been the vaccines. And there's no question that the vaccines have worked as a strategy. We're 8th in the country in terms of the percentage of the population who've gotten first doses. We're actually number 1 in the country when it comes to those 65 and older with at least one dose. And we're just overall first and second shots we're nicely up there. We are doing well. So I think the strategy has worked, and I think that the job now. I just sent a letter to state officials and local officials saying, let's use the bully pulpit to encourage people to get the vaccine. It works, and that's the kind of thing that has helped Pennsylvania, I think, do as well as we've done. I haven't. Yeah, right. I haven't made any decision on that. No. Anything else? I think he's not encouraging. I think he's saying we have to do it, and we have to take it out of the ARP funds. So, I mean, we'll find out what the legal requirements are. So far, Pennsylvania has not had to do any. I mean, other states are doing a lot of things with incentives. We haven't. I think Pennsylvanians the people of Pennsylvania actually care about their neighbors and their family members, and so they've gotten the vaccine. So we haven't done what other states, including neighboring states, I think Ohio, West Virginia, we haven't done that. This, I don't think, is voluntary. I think the president is saying he wants us to take the ARP money that we got from the feds, and this would be one of the things he wants us to use the money for. So I'm not sure how we get out. It's new, so we'll have to follow up on it. But I wouldn't have any problem doing that. Yes. Now, sorry. Oh, that was your question, Jan. That was her question. She apologizes. Yeah. The $100? I don't know. I mean, as I was saying, we've done so well without any incentives. I've sort of made it a point of pride to say, hey, we're Pennsylvania. We don't need to give ourselves incentives. We do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. But if someone is saying, here's $100, you must give it to people who get the vaccine, yeah, okay. And actually, if we're trying to, one of the areas that we are lagging, we're doing really well, 65 and older. We're doing better than everybody, not everybody else on the 18 to 65, but we're doing worse than either of those two. We're still doing better than most, I think, but when it comes to the 12 to 18, we have some challenges, and I don't know, maybe the $100 will be a help there. They were the last to get in, and maybe a little extra push here would be helpful. Who knows? What? That's a good question. Did everybody hear that? If you got your shot already, do you qualify for the 100? Apparently not. I asked the same question. No, I don't. Apparently not. So thank you for getting your shots. That's really important. Sorry, be the bearer of bad news.
You can come to a state park for free.
Yeah, that'll be the inducement. Just you can come here for free. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks a lot.